Hello and welcome to the Lipstick Panel. I'm Steve, the bassist from Lipstick Generation.
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm the lead singer from Lipstick Generation, and I'm here on this episode. I showed up.
You sure are, Greg, buddy. Drag along kicking and screaming. What are we talking about today, Greg?
I don't know. You're the one introducing it today, Steve.
Why am I introducing it? Okay, so remember how some time ago we did a French extreme metal album, and it was great, and you were super grumpy the entire time?
Yes.
What if we did more French extreme metal? Today we're doing Igorrr? I don't know. There's extra R's, so I don't know how to pronounce it. Apparently, this is on purpose. He named the band Igorrr with too many R's in order to make it harder to pronounce.
Wow, that's so cool.
That's pretty handy.
Well, yeah, if you can't roll your R's.
Igorrr. Right, by, awesome French, metal musician. I can never remember how to pronounce his name.
Igorrr.
Right. I mean, I get maybe that part.
Anyway, so it's the new Igorrr album, Spirituality and Distortion.
Yeah, Gautier, or however it's pronounced.
Yeah,
we tried to get him on this episode so that he could pronounce things for us. Gautier Sierra?
Gautier Sierra. I'm just guessing. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just guessing at it.
We'll defer to the European. Hey, speaking of Europeans, Colin, how
yeah,
do you introduce yourself?
The man from Scotland. Full pelter fuck all.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I've got to say right now, man.
You want to introduce our guest, Steve? Like, tell us, who they are, what they're known for? Like you're supposed to do?
I could. All right. This is Colin Arthur of Coral and Ruts.
That's me. Me and Steve had a watching one time. Well, I did a wee guest solo on his song. What was it? Molgoth Cop, classic song.
Molgoth Cop, yes. Also from Regdar and the Fighters.
Of course.
He's a fighter, but I don't know if we gave him a number or not. And then returning to the panel are mainstays Victor and Julia of James Gameboy, and I forget the name of
Lady Celery
project. Lady Celery. I am a good host.
Hello.
It's me, the internet's bad boy.
Bad boy of hedgehogs.
Yeah, I was told there would be hedgehogs in this podcast. Was I misled?
There's
a couple of bastards in this podcast, definitely.
Oh, we will have to be looking up Igorrr the Hedgehog.
Oh, fuck. You're right.
He's got a chicken that can play piano, and that's good enough.
I think the original Igorrr was actually a hamster.
Oh yeah, named after his hamster. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he named his band after his pet.
So speaking of the band, hey, at the beginning of our episode, hello first-time listeners, welcome to the train wreck. That was the beginning of this episode. We are going to continue talking. So the way our show works...
What a strange episode to dive in at.
There's probably going to be a bunch of Igorrr fans who are excited to listen to someone deep dive and dissect this album. So typically... This is a ranking show, so we rank the songs in the album from least best to best, and then talk about the songs in order of the ranking. But before we get into our ranking, we talk about our history with the band and the album. You know what, Steve? This episode was your idea. Why don't you go first?
All right. So I first got into Igorrr around the time that their previous album came out, Savage Sinusoid, when one of my friends from high school sent me a YouTube video and said, hey, this might be relevant to your interests. And it was a making of the album series where, it was a bunch of weird Europeans, going into a recording studio and just messing around with a bunch of stuff and creating strange noises. And out came these amazing metal songs. And I was like, well, this is great. And then I saw that this album was going to be released this year. And I was like, okay, well, this is also great. Let's make Greg listen to it. And I was very correct in this decision.
You were absolutely right with that one.
Right, so correct.
So, Colin, what about you? What's your history with Igorrr? And actually, since it's your first time on the show, what's your general music tastes?
Well, for me, like, I've always been into metal, that kind of thing. I used to be in a death metal band, like, back in the day. Went from there, metal, and then kind of, like, went from there more into hip-hop kind of stuff, usually these days. But I was, like, just on YouTube, and then I just heard that song, Very Noise, and I was like, fucking hell, that is amazing. Just the mix of breakbeat and metal just totally caught me straight away. Loved it. And the video as well. The video was pretty fucking weird, I must admit. It's pretty out there.
It's an amazing video.
It's so good, man. I love it. And then after that, I heard the one after that with George Corpse Grinder in it. Fucking love that song. The one they released after that. Then after that, obviously, it was, I think it was Camel Dance Floor was the one they released after that. Oh no, it was Camel Dance Floor, and then after that, the last one they released there was the video for Downgrade Desert, which was, I don't know, it's an alright song, but I prefer Parpeng or whatever way you say it. Parpen or whatever it is. I love that one. That's that fucking amazing song.
So, Victor, what is your history with Igorrr and general thoughts on metal, and general thoughts on this album?
So, I've been a fan of Igorrr since around the late 70s. I got their fourth album, kind of like how most Igorrr fans did, and I've been a fan ever since through the tips and turns of their discography through the late 80s into the 90s, and then the brief period where they weren't doing anything until around 2002. Yeah, I remember all that stuff. And then about 2 weeks ago, you guys asked me to listen to this, and I was like, it's been 40 years. I don't know if I can get back on the Igorrr train. And then I did it.
Congratulations.
And how was getting back on the Igorrr train?
Well,
because there ain't no getting off this train.
so I've heard. There's this genre broadly defined as metal that I like some very specific entries in, and find myself wanting to like it a lot more than I do. And this did not make a particularly good case for me.
Julia, do you like metal, and did this make a particularly good case for you?
I love metal. I was a huge metal listener in high school. I've been to tons and tons of metal shows. Me and metal go way back. Me and this album will go no further.
I think essentially just mean you love this album, Steve. That's about it.
Yep.
So yeah,
I don't think I hate it as much as the others might, but I don't like it. It
what does
wasn't
that mean then?
Not my cup of tea, but I can see what's happening here, and I appreciate it.
That's good enough.
So I can see what's happening here, and I don't appreciate it. Alright, so my turn. So I grew up in the 90s and assumed that all music was bad until I heard classic rock and was like, whoa, this is actually kind of cool. I guess music can be good. And so I started going to shows in the local Cleveland scene. And Cleveland is a big metal city, so there was a lot of death metal, and I'm like, wow, all these bands are really bad. They don't know how to write songs. They're just getting up there and growling, and there's like 3 people in the crowd, and nobody is into it except their one friend. And I would hang out with these musicians, and they're like, you should check out this band, and I would listen to it, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. But because I was a kid growing up in Cleveland, you just assumed metal was cool, because metal was Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. And then I realized, you know what? Old metal is cool. Back when they were like, hey, pop hooks and melodies. I think that metal eventually became a thing where it just became heavy for the sake of being heavy, which I know that some people think is cool, and I'm just like, oh, but you forgot to write a song. Like, you got your guitar tone where you wanted it, but you forgot, like, about what are the right notes to play. And so that is how I think of metal as a genre. It's just like most metal musicians, the first riff they come up with on the guitar, they write a song around it rather than thinking, this doesn't actually work in terms of any comprehensible theory. I just played a bunch of chords in an order and then called it a riff. Turns out that's not a good riff and not a good way to write songs. And so Igorrr, hey, here's this band. It's like, guys, what if we wrote those same kind of songs, but then added chip tunes in there and just added different genres? Doesn't that make it unique? No, because there are a lot of people on YouTube who mix genres and don't write interesting songs. And that's what this is. It is those same bad metal songs, but you added an accordion. Does that make it unique? No, you just added an accordion to a bad metal song. So
that specific thing does make it good, though.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Gotta say, makes it fucking kick ass, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes
Unironically,
yeah, this is bad. This is the worst CD we've done on the show. In comparison to other albums we've done, there's a Smashing Pumpkins album called Gish. Haha, you don't have your drop, Steve.
No!
I complained about that album lacking hooks, but at least there were a couple standout tracks and good production that was worthwhile. Just like, wow, that's a really good guitar tone. Gojira is a death metal album where even though I didn't like a lot of the music, I at least respected the artistic direction and the lyricism. This is troll
what album
music.
was it that you did, by the way? What Gojira album was it you did?
Mars to Sirius.
Whatever one with the whale on the cover.
Oh, yeah. Oh, From Mars to Sirius. That's a great fucking album.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't like it, but I at least respected, good lyricism on the album.
It's brilliant. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I like the understanding of it.
It has a great message. This music doesn't have a message. It's just troll music that isn't funny. And a troll that isn't funny is just an annoying person. In the group chat, I compared this to an Applebee's. We're like, wow, look at all this crap we have on the wall. There's a license plate and a picture of a cow and the Mona Lisa. And it's like, wow, we have an accordion and blast beats and the same generic metal songs that every metal band writes. And we put them all
don't
together.
Bring the accordion into this.
Doesn't that make it so unique and awesome? No, it just makes it bad metal, but you stuck a couple different, you mixed a couple different genres, but you didn't actually write any good songs. So yeah, this album sucks.
Greg,
plain
I
and
think
simple,
you're
this is
thinking
bad.
about this the wrong way. It's not that it's like an album of songs. It's more like it's an abstract painting by somebody with synesthesia.
It's an abstract painting by someone who sucks at painting and should give up painting.
Somebody's been reading the Wikipedia page of Igorrr, haven't they?
And a couple interviews and things like that. I knew I'd have to defend this guy from Greg, so, I brushed up a little more than usual.
It's pretentious troll music. It's just bad. But yeah, I could just keep saying it's bad for a while, but we could just get into the songs. I could say that over and over again. So you guys ready to get into this ranking?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah!
Hell yeah.
Oh,
all
yeah.
right. So coming in at the bottom of the ranking, as voted by this panel, the way the show works, each of us votes on the songs from best to least best, and then we add up the points to see where they end up. So the least best song on this album is Barocco Satani. I don't remember what it sounds like because these songs aren't very memorable, because the melodies aren't good, and they're very predictable metal songs. I don't remember what this sounds like, so I assume it's bad.
It's literally the theme from Psycho, Greg.
Yep, still don't remember it. I remember the theme from Psycho.
Yeah,
I'd say it's more the kind of thing you would hear in a restaurant in American Psycho, to be honest. That's it.
It would be tremendous to hear this in American Psycho.
Oh, by the way, for the nerds who are like, how come he doesn't remember what it sounds like? I've listened to this album more than 10 times in preparation for this. It's just not very good.
I don't remember this one either.
Yeah, my notes are literally, I don't fucking know anymore, man.
This is towards the end of the album, yes.
Do we have any comments on this song that none of us remember, except for Steve, who gave it
no,
11
I
points?
remember many things.
I do
about
kind of
the
remember
song.
this song. It's kind of like, it kind of starts off with a wee kind of Pride and Prejudice style bit, That kind of like music at the start, period drama kind of stuff. Like Baroque
Yep, lots
Baroque
of
music,
harpsichord
basically,
on this
with
one.
lots of harpsichord, yeah. And then
But
goes
it's
in-
just, it's not. So this is the harpsichord one?
Yeah, no, there's
It's
like
one
a
of
few
the
harpsichord ones, yeah.
The thing is, there are elements that I like. Like, I enjoy harpsichord. I listen to music with harpsichord. I'm not against harpsichord. I just wish you wrote something good for the harpsichord to play.
Well, the harpsichord, I think it does sound a bit shit, to be honest, I'll tell you the truth. But I kind of rated this one pretty low as well.
Yeah, I'm the only one who ranked this one pretty high. I put this one fourth from the top. Everybody else put it, as fifth from the bottom is the highest.
Yeah.
Colin put it there. But yeah, no, I do like this one a lot. I think the quote unquote lead guitar has some nice understated parts where it does the thing where the rhythm
one
guitar,
of the metal things.
One of the metal things. So this is one of the songs where there's a section where the rhythm guitar is just playing like some open chords, and then the lead guitar is playing I think probably the minor third on top of it, and it has a nice full sound that I really like. There's a lot of vocal harmonies on this one that I really enjoy, and yes, it features the Psycho theme. This is one of the ones with the most emphasis on violin.
It's got quite a cool big black metal bit near the end, like kind of chord like progression that sounds like that. But then the rest of it does sound like it really deserves to be in a kind of drama series that English twats would enjoy with a cup of tea, that kind of thing.
I just found that the album had worn out its welcome at this point for me. I was getting a little tired of it, and I don't think this song introduced anything new or interesting that we hadn't already heard done better in other songs.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I'd feel that, yeah.
There's a couple songs towards the end where I could see that idea of like, this is nothing new, but I don't know. I've felt this one stood out a little more to me.
I feel like that's the entire album for me, is this is nothing new. Like, oh man, we combined metal with this genre. I haven't seen that on YouTube, except you guys gotta deal with Metal Blade, because, I don't know. I'm sorry, metal fans. Like, I don't get you. I don't get you. Sorry. Alright, I think we're done with this crappy song. So next up on the list is Lost in Introspection. I also don't remember what this sounds like.
Lost in Introspection.
Neither do I.
Oh, the piano bit at the start is really fucking annoying. It just sounds like a fucking advert for like an iPod. It's pretty fucking shit. Well, an iPod advert for goths. It's pretty bad. But the rest of the song has kind of good bits, but the start really does my fucking head in, the annoying piano part.
Oh, this is...
Greg, you put it right in the middle.
Yeah, at a certain point in the ranking, I just put it in the order of the CD, so the longer the CD went on, the less I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just where it ended up in the ranking. Only the very top songs and the very bottom I actually cared about in my ranking. Otherwise, I ranked it in order. So, the further along in the CD it is, the less points it got because I was still listening to the CD.
There is some things I do like about this song. Like, there's a lot of cool kind of breakbeat bits over like kind of orchestrate parts, which makes it quite cool. And then it just flies right into your standard kind of metal riffage. Like, do like that bit as well. But no, there's a bit in it as well. There's a bit that kind of reminds me of like the score for like Batman Returns. Honestly, it's so weird. It reminds me of like it reminds me of the bit at the start where Oswald Cobblepot gets like chucked into the river and the penguins take him away, like in Batman Returns, man. It's that kind of similar structure of the song.
Well,
That makes me like this song more.
I think that's
my
probably
number one now.
There's probably a hint of the DS Airy in here, which is, goth musician 101. Like, hey, do you know the DS Airy means death? Ooh, we use that progression because it means death, and that's so spooky, and everyone uses it. And, it's
That
used to
is
great
spooky,
effect.
though.
I mean, yeah, it's used to great effect in Sweeney Todd, Nightmare Before Christmas, Batman Returns, and, of course, a great inversion in Frozen 2.
Man, you talk about bad songwriting, Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd is a masterpiece of musical theater, and here's the thing. I'm glad you brought up Batman Returns, because I listen to a lot of instrumental music, including instrumental music from movies and video games I've never seen or played or experienced. And I'm just like, I hold a lot of that as my bar for instrumental music, which a lot of this album is. There is nothing discernibly memorable about most of these tracks. And I feel like with instrumental music, or music where the lyrics are unintelligible and difficult to discern, you better have some other hooks that make up for that. And I feel like this album is pretty lacking in that, and therefore it's not even creating a cool atmosphere that I want to listen to. Like Victor did a very cool atmospheric album that wasn't necessarily hooky, but it created a cool sense of atmosphere. There's none of that here. There is literally no appeal in this, and that is why I think it's the greatest CD in the world. Who wants to go nuts on this song?
Craig. So I actually have opinions on this one. I did rank this one towards the bottom. So I've mostly listened to this album sort of non-critically over the last couple of weeks since it came out. I've just been, throwing it on periodically. And then Friday I sat down and did a critical listen so that I could actually put rankings of it. And this one stuck out to me a little bit as somewhat lackluster when I sat down and, for critical listening, because it sort of flows out of Himalayan massive ritual, and you end up, so it sort of ends up being at the start of a series of more down, ambient-ish songs, as ambient as this album gets. And I feel like this song in particular dragged a little bit, but there were a couple elements that I really liked. There's one point where he gets a hi-hat pattern going, and then uses what sounds like a high-pass filter and a delay essentially as an instrument, so that the hi-hat pattern just goes and then stops, and then the delay and the high-pass filter continue to treat it as an instrument for the entire next passage, which I thought was a very clever thing to do.
You're talking my language, Steve. That's all I want to hear. This kind of chat. Producer chat.
Right. Like,
we need some noise gates in there, some filters.
Right. The reason this particular, weird metal musician who throws a whole bunch of genres together has a Metal Blade label or rec deal is that he's also a really good producer.
I feel like that's the only thing he's good at. He forgot to write songs. It's like, oh, this is a cool production technique. That's cool. I'd rather hear a cool production technique in a good composition.
Like, you're listening to an abstract painting and being mad that there isn't a picture of George Washington watching some cows in a pastoral setting, Greg.
Yes, I guess.
That was a real deep cut for you most and least wanted music fans out there. You should rank that album, Greg.
I mean, that's much better than this.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree that the Least Wanted Music is a better song than this one, but that's just because Least Wanted Music is one of the greatest songs in the history of humankind.
I think what the problem with your assessment is that I don't think this is an avant-garde or abstract enough to be interesting. It's just like middle of the road, like actually subpar hooks and just mashing genres together haphazardly in a way that doesn't add up to anything. Like, if it was completely off the wall, insanity, and then I might be able to respect it more. But it's most of this is just like very obvious metal choices. Once we get into other songs in the ranking, and within the compositions themselves, there's usually like a few bars that I would say that's good, but it's surrounded by crap.
Getting into his boring, I don't like hooks bullshit. So I'm going to vote move on.
Oh, I didn't get a talk.
Oh, yeah. Move on to somebody who has a less boring take.
Yeah. My notes actually described this just well enough that I can kind of remember it. And,
oh, yeah.
Colin, it's
high
funny
praise.
that you brought up the piano as something bad, because my notes specifically say fun piano lines with melodic experimentation that isn't always pleasant, but is at least interesting.
I didn't like the piano either.
It's the tone of the piano. I really hate the tone of the piano.
Oh, no, the piano sounded like shit, but I liked what it was playing.
Just sounds like an Apple iPod advert. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
This is also, there were two standout moments from this one, which is the ending piano line ends with the person just like slamming all the keys.
Oh yeah, I like that bit.
That's just
no one's ever done that before.
It's just music to me. And then there's also the part where the lady does her singing thing, But at the end of it, it sounds like she gets pulled off stage by the Sandman from Def Jam. So she's like singing a note, and then she's like, oh!
It's true. That part does exist in this song.
So I thought that was
More
worth
songs
mentioning
need
as well.
yoink sounds in them.
Yeah, exactly. I want to get pulled off stage, vaudevillian style.
Yeah, but could you imagine that happening to like an opera singer?
It'd be so good. This song, I think, is very forgettable. I kind of agree with like both sides of the argument here, where it's
Very
like
fine people.
they're very fine people on both sides. Yes.
Okay.
Good Lord. No, because I think this song in particular, or this album, is trying to be playful in a way that a lot of metal bands aren't. I mean, I'm from New Mexico originally, which is like, the metal scene there is massive. And whenever you go to see a metal band, a lot of the local artists are just doing the same thing as everyone else. So it is nice when someone tries to like shake it up. But this song in particular does sound like just things slapped on top of each other. There's not a lot of like thoughtful or meaningful combining. And I think there are songs on this album that they like merge genres and styles in a way that is much more meaningful and much more interesting. But this one does feel like it feels like a shepherd's pie of garbage.
Wow. All right, so next up on the list is my number one song in the ranking. We've got Nervous Waltz next on the list.
No.
Greg, you were just talking about all of the like YouTube people who do this same thing, and you like this song the best?
So here's the thing.
Ugh.
I think this is the best composed song. I don't necessarily think it's the best played. I think the drumming is fucking terrible. So the best song on the album, I still would use the word fucking terrible to describe. So that's the bar. But I think compositionally, this is actually the closest to a actual classical music piece, where the way that it moves throughout is akin to something you would hear from an actual Baroque composer, which is nice. It's got a catchy melody, and the movements between different sections are actually very coherent and make sense in a way where it works as a cohesive piece. The different elements they bring in, I don't necessarily enjoy the stylistic choice, but at least it makes sense to a degree where it's like, yes, this one I could tell was actually a well-written piece. And if it was, it had some different instrumentation, I would probably actually like it. So, yes, that is what I think is the highlight of the album.
Greg doesn't like the slap pop bass because it sounds too much like funk.
You know what? Funk is great. I'm putting that on the record, just in case people haven't listened to our other episodes where I grouse at you for not liking funk.
No, I just grouse at you for like not knowing what funk is, Greg.
It's the Red Hot Chili
Also,
Peppers,
this isn't a
bro.
waltz for the most part. I don't know if you caught that, Greg. There's a lot of 4/4 for a waltz.
Yes, there is a lot of 4/4 for a waltz. I acknowledge that. It's not.
Well, they were nervous.
It's not yeah. Look, like I said, the best song in the album still sucks. It's just this was the best.
This song is like the personification of, you know, when you are on YouTube or SoundCloud or something and somebody's done like a dubstep version of Furelise or whatever, and the picture is that picture of Beethoven, but he's wearing like really low-res sunglasses.
Yeah.
This is that, except it came from like a bunch of professional musicians released by a major label. My notes are honestly embarrassing.
Like, everything I said about Lost in Introspection applies here, but times 50. This song sucks shit. It's so bad. I hate it.
Yeah, the intro to this song kind of sounds like straight out of a fucking Jane Austen novel. It's pretty bad, the intro to it.
Oh, yeah.
I think I had this one at like 5.
Yeah,
I'm curious as to what Julia's going to say about, her least favorite song, since this one isn't even it.
Just you wait.
Speaking of Julia's least favorite song, next up on the list is Himalaya Massive Ritual.
Oh boy.
All right.
This was my second favorite.
Why?
If you ask him why, he's gonna say.
Yeah, right? I'm trying... Okay, so my first notes are to yell at Greg.
Why? I gave it 8 points. Because that's where it was in the album.
Well, my first point is to yell at Greg about, it's not a double kick, it's a drum machine. So you can't grasp about it.
I don't remember what it sounds like. I don't care.
Okay, so when you take a kick drum in a drum machine and you said
no, I know what those sound like. I don't know what this sounds like.
It's also the really long one.
Right. I should have ranked it lower.
All right, so I like there are a couple aspects of this that I really like. There's some cool syncopated kick drum parts after the digital blast beat ends.
Digital blast beat, the most appealing sound for Greg.
Mm-hmm. And then this is the one that ends with the weird timing slip thing, where just the kick gradually gets more and more out of time with the riff in the coda.
I don't remember that at all.
Me neither.
Nobody noticed it. Just
is there like a kind of a layer of some bells near the end? Is that what the kick your tats up? You're talking about sampling? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
it's kind of like bells.
He built a Tibetan prayer bowl type instrument out of an old kerosene tank.
Oh, nice.
There's a video you can see of him putting this thing together, and it sounds really good. There's a lot of really cool layering of there's sections where there's just a ton of sounds layered up, and then there's sections which are much more sparse. I think there's a lot of cool ideas and cool contrast in this one. The only thing that I'm sort of unsure about with it is the timing slip. I don't know how I feel about that. It's weird.
I'd say this one's also got a kind of bit in the middle that also brings me back to Batman Returns once again. It's like 2 songs in this album. It makes me think of Batman Returns. It's got a great wee kind of bit in the middle. And it's got a good kind of metal part after the intro. I like that. It's pretty all over the fucking joint.
Man, if you're comparing the worst songs on this album to Batman Returns, I wish I'd watched Batman Returns before watching it, or before listening to this, so I would have a higher opinion.
Oh, man, I love Batman Returns. I love that score, and I wish this reminded me of Batman Returns so I could enjoy myself while listening to this.
Personally, this song reminded me of The Dark Knight Rises because it's too fucking long.
You know what? Hot take, Dark Knight Rises. Good movie. Much better than this album.
Oh, I could say that. 100% I would say that, definitely.
It's a good movie, but it's flawed. But wow, we haven't even let Julia go about her least favorite song, so have at you, Julia.
I will say I'm not as passionately angry about this song as I am about Nervous Waltz, which is just a big flaming piece of shit. I just think this one, for a song this long, you'd think they'd want to, do something. Instead, I'm sitting here thinking, this is really long, and then it keeps getting longer. I think the reason why I didn't notice any of the stuff that you were talking about is because I tuned out. So, not interested. I'm not listening to this song anymore. My brain won't listen to this. It won't let me, and I won't hear it, and I won't respond to it.
We just got lost in introspection while listening to this.
Heyo.
This one, it's like, if you're gonna do a song this long, stylistically, it seems like, we're gonna do a big epic piece, but this album is constantly going at 11, so there's not really any room for this one to separate itself sonically.
Oh. What did you just say? No, don't stop. Say it slower.
Sonically.
Oh my God.
You're going to earn that explicit ranking on iTunes.
We're just gonna have to rent Sonic the Hedgehog one week and just do a group just watch the movie,
Oh.
like press play at the same time.
Yes, please.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, fuck, please no.
We'll replace you with Gavin for that episode, so you don't have to endure that.
Thank God. Cheers, Gavin.
So sort of the interesting thing with, the observation that everything on this album is very long is this is the longest song on the album. It's only 7 minutes.
I know, that's not that
It's
long.
just barely 7 minutes. It's interesting. This album feels longer than it is, which when I'm listening to it and having a great time is wonderful. I'm like, yeah, this album is still going. I'm loving it. But yeah, I can picture how that would make Greg's life difficult. It's like, I've been listening to this album forever. How much is left? Oh no, I've only listened 15 minutes. There's still half an hour left.
I listened to this album a lot because I tried to give it a chance, and I tried to, like, my bare minimum with doing these albums is to at least remember what the songs sound like. I just gave up after the last couple listens. We're like, I hope I remember what it sounds like this time, but fuck it, it's probably not going to happen. I like long songs. Jim Steinman is my favorite American songwriter. Long songs are fine with me. It's just something needs to happen in the long song other than just like we messed up the timing at the end.
Really, the problem with this is it's not long enough. If you want to have that epic long song in the middle, especially for metal, like if you're doing like or if you're doing weird proggy metal, your longest song being 7 minutes long is kind of weird.
Yeah, you should be talking about like 13 minutes or something.
Yeah, that's like half of any given Tool song.
Fuck yeah.
Yay!
I think we all agree that Tool is overrated.
No, we do not agree at all with that. My opinion whatsoever.
You know what? I probably agree that Tool is overrated, but I also would much rather listen to Tool than this album.
Let me explain about the Fibonacci sequence to you, though.
Oh, like I've not heard this one.
All right, so
Steve, I
next
didn't
up
know
on
we
the
were on a
list.
first date.
Oh, God.
Next up on the list, we've got Polyphonic Rust. I ranked it
apparently liked
third
this.
from the bottom because where it was in the track listing. Don't remember what it sounds like. Go ahead, Victor.
Hang on. I just noticed how high it was on mine, and now I'm trying to remember it.
It's the one with the brass.
Steve, like, no matter what you say, I would believe you that was in the song, but I'm just not going to remember. Okay. Hey, this is a pretty good note. I was really on fire while listening to this.
Boy.
Good start. I like the riff and the elaborations in the arrangement as it goes. How will they ruin it? Oh, this is maybe a question one either Steve or Colin might be able to answer. The piano in the heavy bit after the initial voice break, I feel like that is a melody that is referencing something, but I can't figure out what it is, and I only listened to this album twice.
I'm not going to lie, I cannot remember that piano bit you're talking about whatsoever.
Yeah.
You like this album, right?
I do as well, and I can't remember any piano part of that bit, no.
I don't remember the piano bit either.
It sounded so familiar to me, even the first time we listened to it. I was like, that is a reference to something, and I just cannot remember for the life of me what it is.
I don't know. I ended up ranking this one right in the middle because it's very much not a standout, I felt, in any important way. It's the second to last track, and it's exploring a lot of territory that the rest of the album had already explored pretty well. So it's probably, the most dispensable song on the album.
Yeah, I rated this one pretty
I
low.
like it. I enjoyed every time I listened to it, but if you removed this one from the album, I think very few people would notice.
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
didn't
that's
really enjoy
most of the
this song
songs
at all.
on the album. Julia, do you have anything on this one?
Nope. It's fine.
Cool. Next up is Overweight Posey. Don't remember what it sounds like.
Overweight pussy!
Yeah.
There's that explicit rating. Yeah, I don't remember what it sounds like. Julia, Victor, Do you remember what it sounds like?
No, my note on this one was I'd rather listen to something else.
And mine was, I bet if I was invested in the sound of this album, this would be an interesting change up. Bent Knee did it better.
Bent Knee did. I feel like it's an insult to compare Bent Knee to this. Bent Knee don't deserve that shade thrown at them.
Sounds like I'm stuck in a Portuguese acid trip when I listen to the vocals in the start of this song. That's pretty fucking out there.
So this is one of the waltzier songs, Greg. It's got a lot of... I mean, it's not really waltz. It's got a 6/8 dance kind of feel, but it's not like a proper waltz tempo.
I believe you. I believe you that is in there.
This is one of the ones that's using the Arabian scale more.
Okay, by the way, Steve, you could totally lie about what is in these songs. I'd believe you.
I bet you would. So one of the things I particularly like about this one, I rank this one pretty high, like 5th or so. I have trouble matching, this one kind of runs into the Smashing Pumpkins thing where I have trouble matching titles to songs because there's not necessarily any connection that I can see per se. But this is one of the better instances on this album of exploring the range of the female voice, which I think is something that more music needs to do, in that the female voice is usually treated in a very narrow box of, sweet, clean vocals. And this album, in a couple cases, more so in other songs, but to a large extent in this song, does the thing where she varies from clean and operatic to pretty dirty and broken up. Which, I like that. I like to hear that the instruments used to their maximum range.
So I want to comment
pretty much like another instrument. It's pretty cool. Sorry, I was just saying, her voice is pretty amazing in this album. It's like she's so accomplished, and it sounds like another instrument basically throughout it. But it does kind of make me feel like I'm in a Portuguese acid trip at times. That's just weird.
In a good way or in a bad way?
Oh, it's always in a good way when it's Portuguese. Especially as a Portuguese breakfast.
I want to touch on two things there. As far as utilization of the female vocals to their maximum, potential of range of use, I feel like that is something that this album kind of fails at in a number of ways, where, ooh, look, another minor key melody for the woman to sing, and then she growls. That never happens in metal. That is so unique and different. And I don't always need a woman to have a completely clean vocal. I mean, Bonnie Tyler, there's a lot of grit there. Stevie Nicks, Pat Benatar. So I don't necessarily need my female vocalist to always be pure and clean without grit. I just would want a more interesting melody. The problem is these melodies are all incredibly predictable for metal and are just standard, minor key, creepy melodies. And as far as the Smashing Pumpkins thing, where the song title and the song don't match up, I think that's another weakness of this album, where, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel when listening to any of these songs. What emotion it's supposed to bring out. It's not telling me a story, it's not making me happy, it's not making me sad, it's just here's some shit I threw together. It just feels like a kid literally, smashing his action figures together, and that's it. And not even characters that have anything to do together. And you're not sure if they're kissing or fighting. It's just I smashed these two toys together. Isn't this cool? I smashed toys. And it's cool, I guess.
Again, it's an abstract painting, Greg. You feel what you feel when you look at it.
I feel boredom.
I'm loving your description.
It's not the artist's job to dictate your emotions to you.
I feel, but it's the artist's job to at least, imply something?
I think this is a fucking album then for that.
I want to at least I like the idea of open-ended art to a degree, but I want there to at least be something there. What sort of comes to mind, maybe it's just the zeitgeist right now. But the ending of Final Fantasy VII, for example, which great album. But spoilers for the ending of Final Fantasy VII, a game from 25 years ago. I
think they changed the ending for the new one, didn't they?
Well, that's the ending of part. Anyway, whatever.
The point podcast, guys.
Yeah, but I'm explaining like the ending is very much left open to the interpretation of the viewer, in that you wonder, like, did humanity survive, or were all humans wiped out from existence? And the ending lets you interpret it either way. And I thought that was very clever, and allowing you, the audience, to put your own spin and interpretation upon something. Or like, the ending of Inception, where, you see the top spinning. I feel like there isn't enough here to grasp onto. It's just Applebee's. This is the Applebee's of metal.
That is the worst take.
Except Applebee's is better than this album. Anyway, next up on the list, we have Hollow Tree. Yeah,
and I believe we should be open America, so I can go there. Much.
Oh, God. Shut up.
This one kind of sounded like bad JRPG music, so I could kind of remember it.
This is another one with the harpsichord.
Yeah.
This is just
my least favorite song.
When I kick back and listen to music, this is not something I would ever in a million lifetimes reach for or desire. It's not bad.
It's not something to chill out to.
Yeah, like, it just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. I think it's fine, but I just don't want to listen to it.
I think as far as the abstract art comparison goes, since that keeps coming up, Steve, this is like...
Right?
Actually, a very specific applicable thing. We've been doing a lot of abstract art in quarantine. And one time, one of our housemates, we were using black canvases, and he apparently messed up his painting so bad that he painted over it in black to cover up everything he had already done. And we were joking about how that was the art. And that's like this. I get the same feeling looking at his completely black canvas that he actually painted as I do listening to this. It's as if nothing is happening. I'm looking at it blankly. Despite a lot of work going into it.
So, how thick was the coat of black paint?
Not thick enough.
Well, because that's the thing, is like, if you put a thick layer of, of black paint on a used canvas, then you end up, back at just a black canvas. But, paint has depth to it. Paint has width. So if you don't put a thick enough paint, you will still have the original painting coming through. Like, why am I spacing on his name? Picasso. He had the old guitarist painting. If you actually look at it in person, you can actually see a bit of an outline of I believe it's a woman nursing.
Which
from an
yeah, but I think
from an earlier painting.
Yeah, but that's sort of the difference, is that there's at least that to grasp onto with those paintings. Like, I don't dislike all abstract art. I like Dali, and I don't dislike all avant-garde stuff. I mean, Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum is great. This is just, man, Taxi Driver is better than this, dude.
Harsh.
That is pretty harsh.
And you know how much that hurts me to admit.
Right?
I'm sorry.
To be fair, comparing the old guitars to this album, like, we're on a fair amount of a rabbit trail, and the metaphor is definitely strained.
Right, but it's just it's not abstract enough to be interesting. I think that's the issue. It needs to be more abstract for me to actually be like, wow, that was cool. I can't believe you did that.
So, Colin, you put this at the bottom, right?
Yeah, I didn't really like this song at all.
Yes.
It's just a lot of harpsichords.
Anything in particular?
It just it's pretty repetitive. Yeah. Like, there's not much going on. And as you can obviously tell, me and you love this album, so we love a lot of crazy stuff. This just didn't really do much at all. I just didn't enjoy it one bit. That's all I can say about it, is there's fuck all happening in this song.
Fair. I put it in the middle. This one is one of the ones that feels shorter than it actually is. It's got a 6/8 swing feel, which is nice. That's very little metal uses that kind of time signature.
I enjoyed the sad strings at the end, but that was about it, really.
Yeah, the ambient section?
Like, just right near the end.
I wonder if this is a reference to Old Dead Tree, a different French extreme metal band.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Do we have any other comments on this one?
Not me.
I didn't realize we had moved on. I thought we were still talking about Overweight Posey.
Hollow Tree. It's the song that sounds like a really bad song from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
No, and that's why it's so high on my ranking.
Because it sounds like a bad song from Mystic Quest, which is still better for this album.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're right.
Greg, you put it at third, presumably because it's third on the album.
Probably. I don't remember if this was still me caring about the ranking or just putting it in order, but I do remember, at least this one worked for me. Okay, Hollow Tree. I'm inside a tree in Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. So I remembered kind of what it sounds like. But if I remember correctly, doesn't this one, you know what? I don't know. Is this the one that has that quiet? Is there a quiet piano bit in this one?
I don't remember if it's piano, but there's a quiet, more ambient passage. Yes.
I think that was good. If it's this one, if it's not, whatever.
I noted specifically that I liked the ambient break.
That's probably it. So yeah, this one, I mean, I probably ranked it being full of shit, but it's probably where I actually consider it. So it just was a happy accident, like my existence.
Huzzah!
Anyway, next up is Downgrade Desert. I assume this has some Middle Eastern sounds in it. I don't remember what it sounds like, but it has the word desert, so I'm just assuming.
Greg,
yeah,
just
totally
imagine
on point, it does.
You're just imagine you're playing kind of a mid to low grade RPG and you go into a desert. This is the music that's
it's
playing.
that song. Oh, right, this is the bad Crash Bandicoot level. Oh, wait, no, that was a different one. That was the bad Crash Bandicoot
song
level.
on the album, Greg.
This is the first... I don't remember it.
This is the one that has that really quiet intro, and then the snare drum that sounds like a cannon comes in.
Oh, right, and then it becomes it becomes a bad metal song.
Yeah.
I ranked it high because that's the order it came in on the album.
I really like the kick and snare tone on this album, and
of course you do.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a fucking cannon. It's great. And this song starts that off. I think it's a great, strong start to the album. I put it in the high mids. I actually managed to track down lyrics for this one. Most of the lyrics of this album aren't readily available online, but I managed to find this one along with the translation, and I somewhat regret that in that the actual lyrics are real generic metal bullshit.
You don't say.
But I also found some interviews with Gaudier where he was saying that he doesn't really care about lyrics. He just sort of likes the sonority. Is that the word I'm looking for? He likes the sound of lyrics. So
now I'm more on board with this guy.
He just he'll often write lyrics in languages he doesn't even speak just because he knows he likes how the lyrics sound. Again, really, it's an abstract painting by someone with synesthesia, almost literally.
Classic line from Wikipedia there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what actual language is he singing, by the way? In this song? What is the language that they're singing most of the fucking album?
I'm not entirely sure. This one looked kind of Latin-y.
It's such pretentious bullshit.
Some of it might be Italian. I mean, it could just be a Romance language. It could be Italian, maybe, or French.
Sounds quite Italian.
French would make sense.
Yeah, because he's French.
Yeah.
It sounds like a bit more Italian, though.
It could be. Which, you can't really complain about Italian vocals being pretentious the same way you can Latin.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the entire album and career.
Colin, you ranked this one pretty low, right?
Yeah, I didn't really like this one. Just a kind of standard, kind of metal kind of intro and that. Not really into it. And there's not much happening with the song either. I just kind of put it down there, down the bottom.
That's fair.
Julia, any comments on this one?
No. It's fine.
It's one of those metal songs that starts quiet and then gets loud.
It's really inspiring, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unique. These guys are pioneers. Yeah, this guy are sick. Alright, so next up is Paranoid Bulldozer Italiano. Is this the one with the accordion?
No.
No. Okay. I
It's one of the ones with harpsichord.
I don't remember this one either. I gave it 5 points because that's where it was on the album.
This is one where it's got kind of like an intro, like a breakbeat intro.
Oh yeah, I hate those. Yeah, I don't remember this one.
There's probably a good reason for that, which is the same complaint I have for a lot of these songs where it's just territory we already explored better. This one reminds me of the song with Corpse Grinder, but it's not as good. It's just like, it's not as fun the second time around. It's not as like, I'm not as interested to see where it's going to go, and for good reason, because it doesn't really go anywhere. It just feels kind of like jarring in ways that I don't find satisfying. And I would rather listen to the one with Corpse Grinder.
Vic, do you rent this in the same... Oh, go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
So I did put this one third from the bottom, but I do really like it. This one's sort of interesting in that I think it has both the best vocal performance on the album and the worst vocal performance on the album. In that this is the one that has the most pronounced version of his female vocalist, like starting a line in her clean operatic and ending it in a, distorted... She never actually really growls. She just breaks her voice.
Yeah, it's quite death metal vocals in this one, isn't it?
Yeah, he does death metal vocals on it, and his death metal voice isn't amazing.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a little bit underwhelming. This is also one that the mastering, I think, did very bad things to it. So this is a technique that obviously he didn't pioneer. It's been around forever, but there's this a technique where you add a lot of a really low frequency sound to a passage to just take up space and make it sound huge and overwhelming. But with a brick wall limiter, it just ends up making that passage quiet. So I think an unmastered version of this on really good speakers would just knock your fillings out, but a mastered version on headphones really suffers for it.
I've always hated my fillings. So maybe I will seek that out. This one I noted, it leaned a little too electronic for me, but kind of felt vaguely like an entire song instead of a string of things until the Baroque section, and then everything after that completely wrecked that point. But the title reminds me of the previous existence of Italian Elon Musk, so technically this song is a net good.
You know what? I'll accept that. If I had been thinking about the previous existence of Elon Musk, I would have ranked it
Italian
probably
Elon
in the same
Musk
spot.
specifically.
I don't pay the
Right,
taxes.
I don't pay the taxes. I send my car to space.
Oh!
Oh! Tunnels under LA. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all.
I've never heard of Italian Elon
Oh my
Musk.
god, it's so
I must
good.
look it up.
Long live Italian Elon Musk. Long may he reign.
Italian Elon Musk is my Patronus. All right, so now let's talk about something that isn't as fun. Next up is Very Noise.
Oh, Jesus.
I ranked the second.
Boom, 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 boom.
From the top?
Yeah, second from the top.
Yeah, so did that.
This one sounded like the worst Rush instrumental I've ever heard, but it's still a Rush instrumental, and that's better than everything else on this album.
A Rush instrumental just sped up like 500 times.
Yeah, just like a Rush instrumental you listen to on double speed on YouTube, and like, oh, it'd be much better if I slowed it down to the actual speed, but I left double speed on from that previous podcast I was listening to, so alright, here it is.
Man, I want to hear Neil Peart playing hardcore breakbeats now.
Well, too late.
Yeah, I know.
But, I mean, this is at least... I've had the complaint on most of the album how they're not necessarily doing anything interesting. This is at least interesting rhythmically. Is memorable in terms of, like, the composition. Seems very deliberate. This works as a cohesive piece and would be a good instrumental break on a more conventional album. but because it's this piece of shit album, it's a highlight.
I mean, I kind of agree. I think this is a song that definitely exemplifies like the playfulness of this album, and then the like ways they try to experiment. Yeah. And I think like it works great for that. Just for me personally, I don't like to listen to it, to this song in particular.
Yeah, I think for me, I at least felt like I was in on the joke here, and then the joke was only like 2 minutes long, so that was nice. But yeah, putting this third on the album is also really weird. I almost said interesting sequencing choice. Maybe I'll stick by that word. Interesting sequencing choice, putting this third on the album.
I mean, this was the lead single.
Oh, wow.
That's a bold choice.
Yeah, this music video. Did you watch the music video, Victor?
There are a lot of songs that I love, like, with my entire being, that I've never seen the music video for. So no, I did not seek out the music video for Very Noise.
I recommend it. It's a pretty tremendous music video. Honestly, I find the music video a little more compelling than the song itself. I like the song. It was an interesting... Maybe that's the trick, is like, you feel like you're in on the joke on this song. If this had been the first experience was watching the video 2 months ago.
Is this the one where they're in the bathroom, or is that a different band?
This is the... Oh, are you confusing Igorrr with Clowncore?
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, I remember what this sounds like, and I think I just conflated those two together, because you did show me the music videos for this the same day you showed me the music videos for Clowncore.
All right.
So I'm just imagining this song in a porta potty, which makes it better. But also,
this is the music video, which is essentially a demo reel for a computer animation company.
Oh, that one sucked. That's probably why I conflated it with the better video. Yeah, like Victor said, I feel like I'm in on the joke with this one, so that at least works. Colin, you ranked it in the exact same spot as me, but I assume you like it much more than I do?
Yeah, actually, there's a difference. I do actually like this song. I do. I love this song because like I really kind of breakbeat stuff like Venetian snares and square pusher and that, and to mix it with like metal sounds pretty fucking insane. And it was the first tune that I heard by Igorrr, so it just kind of got me straight away. And the video as well is fucking weird as shit.
It's such a weird video. My manager was like, he thought of himself as a metalhead, and so me and one other metalhead in the office were like kept on trying to get him into something other than Korn. So we kept on being like, all right, you need to check out Gojira, you need to check out all this other stuff. And finally I sent him this video, and I don't know if he ever got around to watching it or if he got it.
Is that why you got fired?
Probably. I accidentally did send this to the head of sales, too, and he was like, what the hell is this, Steve? Wrong Slack account, sorry.
Yeah, it's the kind of song that would get you fired, I would say that.
I mean, not because it's offensive or, like, HR get called on you. They're just like, this sucks. I assume you can't do your job properly. You know what? But I still kind of like it. Look, I would be willing to listen to this one again, like, of my own volition.
You could carve out.
I'd definitely say this one next to the other ones pretty stand out. The Cannibal Corpse one. It's only they two that really stand out as actual songs. The rest of the album is just a big mix of everything.
Yeah, this one at least feels like an actual song. So maybe that's why I like, whoa, there's a song on this album of music. Neat.
Although to be pedantic about definitions.
Yeah, it's a composition. Yes, I know. I don't
know if those chanted hays count enough.
Hey.
Hey.
So speaking of actual songs, next up is a generic death metal song. It's Parpang.
Okay.
It's a generic death metal song. This is death metal, but the generic version.
Interestingly enough, Greg and I are pretty close to agreement about this song, and everybody else is on the opposite end of agreement.
Yeah, Steve, we're buds again. What's up?
Right. Sorry, Colin. I thought this is the least strong song on the album.
Yeah? Why is that?
Yeah. I think just, as Greg says, it's a little bit generic. George Corpse Grinder Man, especially being a native English speaker, just hearing he does a good job of delivery, but it's just such a generic, I need all the bodies, dig up the corpses.
That's what he's all about, though, isn't it? Death and killing things.
Yeah.
Right. It's just so generic. One of the interviews I read had a line that I also found a little bit personally insulting, and that the reason there's a chiptunes verse in this song is because Gautier thought that was a great contrast, is that Corpse Grinder Man has the heaviest vocals, and then he put the least heavy music he could think of opposite that, which was chiptunes. I'm like, what? Chiptunes are great and should be used in all heavy metal ever.
I mean, he's not necessarily saying chiptunes aren't great. He's saying they're the least heavy, which is also just incorrect and shows this guy's full of shit.
That's shocking to hear.
I mean, he could have done Muzak, I guess.
I mean, smooth jazz is not heavy.
Pair Corpse Grinder and Kenny
Coldplay.
G. Oh, Coldplay would be really
that would
good.
Be amazing.
Also, they should let George write a song about, D&D or something. Just so metal, but also not metal.
But then...
Paraping to the tune of Paradise by Coldplay, thanks.
Greg would complain about the fact that, D&D is already something that metal has heavily explored.
I mean, they could explore that racist ninja edition. I got you.
Oh, nice.
That's something they don't explore very often in metal.
I do like the idea of a metal song with George Corpse Grinder, just all about how the Asian adventures or Oriental adventures supplement is kind of racist and reductive. I'm a level 5 samurai!
Now, see, that would elevate the song to number 1 in my ranking, but
if they made it
it's generic death metal.
Yeah.
Typical Greg.
No, if they made fun of racism.
I mean...
Really, if this song was about Robert Downey Jr. and wearing blackface, this would be the number...
A song called Tropic Thunder about Robert Downey Jr. and blackface? That sounds like something a metal band could do.
I'm sure they would be able to pull it off.
I'd listen to
Zero doubt in my mind they'd be able to pull it off, of course. I mean, these guys are so clever. How could they not pull that off?
Mm-hmm.
You put chiptunes in a metal song.
That's so clever.
Though, to be fair, that part did go off.
Yeah. It do go off, though.
Also, that is the entirety of Machine Supremacy's career.
That's why they're not a real metal band.
It's true.
All right, I'll check them out.
Also, they're one of those bands that I'm always a little unsure about that band name.
Yeah, it's rough.
Is it a post-humanism thing, or did they just think it sounds cool? And they're Finnish. Maybe they just don't know World War II happened, or
didn't.
Who knows?
World War II didn't happen.
Reopen.
I forgot. This is my persona for this episode. It is World War II was a hoax.
Yeah, and Reopen America.
Oh, so you're the composer for the Dragon Quest series.
Yes, that's me.
Just read about that today. I'm like, God damn. You wrote some bitchin' tunes, dude, but that's super racist.
No, here's the trick, though. Julia's persona isn't a Holocaust denier. She's just a World War II.
The Holocaust was real. World War II, totally fake.
Yeah.
Super fake. I never saw it.
Were you there?
Was anyone really there? I think Stanley Kubrick faced it.
I've never seen COVID-19, so it's got to be a conspiracy.
Yeah,
it's all a conspiracy to make Trump lose the election.
Welcome to 400 years of, scientists trying to get germ theory to be a recognized thing. Nobody's seen COVID-19.
I said, listen to QAnon.
I'm just saying, who are you going to trust? That hack Dr. Fauci living in his ivory tower, or Alex Jones telling us the truth?
I'll eat my neighbors. Try me. I'll eat my neighbors, so my fish doesn't have to starve. It's the closest thing I have to a child, so.
Yeah, do we have any comments on this generic death metal song before we move on? Anything else?
Oh, I absolutely love this generic death metal song.
Me too.
I do.
I
I
thought it was
love George Corpse Grinder, so I just totally love this tune based on that.
That was
Plus, I do
literally,
love
yeah.
that bit at the end, computer game style shit.
That's exactly where I sat
Just-
on this one.
Yeah. Plus, it's the only song next to Very Noise that is one of the only two ones you can actually remember from the full actual album.
High praise. I remember what this one sounds
Yay.
like.
Woohoo!
Speaking of songs
True.
that I remember what they sound like, I only remember what this one sounds like because I thought it was a different song earlier in the ranking, but I think it's this one. Muse at Maximum.
Hell
It's
yeah.
the accordion with the bad drums, right?
Yep, this is the one with the accordion. This is
Yeah.
also the most waltzy one.
Of the ones
Yes.
with an accordion.
Yeah.
This is the one that just, like, has obnoxious, like, blast beats going on throughout, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Periodically.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I like that you said the one that has blast beats.
Yeah.
No, it kind of reminds me of Mr. Bungle, this one.
Interesting.
I feel like
It also
that's
reminds me of that
insulting
time,
Mr. Bungle.
Maybe, but I love both, so I'll stick with that. It makes me
Igorrr
think
needs
of...
more ska elements.
Oh, definitely not.
I'm going to
It
side with
makes me
Steve.
think of
This
that
album-
time Papa John ate 40 pizzas in like 30 days. That makes me think of that. This kind of Italian fucked up song.
My note for this song was that if I went to a concert and this was played live, I would lose my fucking mind. I'd never ever be happier in my life than if this song was played live. Like,
What if a hedgehog played it?
Oh.
I'd come immediately. Oi, Susie. It's just good.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying it's not inane in the way that a lot of the genre mixing in this album is, but it is good.
It's like, it sounds like what my brain sounds like when I'm having a panic attack, but also I'm smiling for some reason. I can't stop smiling when this song is playing, even though it sounds like a panic attack.
You know, I'll admit, this one is at least... It has the benefit of being amusing and entertaining. The accordion melody is actually good. The drums are super annoying, though. I hate it. That's it. Speaking of things I hate... Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
I
Steve.
ranked this one second from the bottom, actually. I thought it kind of calms things down a lot, so it's sort of a sonic reprieve
Sonic?
from-
Sonic? What?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Say it again. Slower.
From Pear Sonic
Oh, God.
reprieve from Pear But I didn't find it the most compelling song other than that. Although this is some of Gaudier's better vocals when he does the higher screams supplemented with some,
Yeah,
low screams.
about somebody he
it
used
works
to
really
know.
well.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it is Gautier. I've been meaning to say that for a while now, but I'm pretty sure it is Gautier.
Like pronunciation wise.
You're pretty sure it's
Yes.
pronounced that way, or
It is
you're pretty
the
No,
same guy.
Gautier,
it's
the
pronounced
singer?
Gautier. That's okay.
You know,
Okay.
this song kind of reminds me of what I would want from this album in a lot of ways, where it feels like the only time he's like, hey, I'm going to use a major key is if he's doing a goof on another genre of music. Like, hey, why don't you try using, like, something other than a minor scale in any of the metal sections? Like, ever. That would actually be different.
I mean, odds are good. He may not even be using, the standard, what is it? Mixolydian? I forget what it's called. The standard minor key.
Ionian.
I'm very bad at...
But-
it's Ionian. So, odds are good. Like, a lot of metal, it uses the mode where the first step is a half step.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, I understand that. It's not, I'm being a little bit, reductivist in my description of it, where it's
Phrygian.
more than likely, a lot of metal uses the Dorian scale. That's one of the more common ones. But what I'm saying is, like, it's always like the way that the clean melodies on the Gojira album disappointed me, because like, oh, let me guess what you're gonna do. It's gonna be the thing that all metal bands do in this situation. Wow, it sure was that thing again. You know, I wish there would be more sonic experimentation with the metal sections, and not just like the, hey, I'm gonna do bouncier sounding music and offer those dynamics only when I'm doing a goof on another genre, because it just feels like he's not very creative in the aspects of his metal writing, and is only creative, quote unquote, when he puts in another genre of music to make fun of it, like this or chiptunes.
Phrygian and Locrian, those are the keys
The
that I'm
birds
thinking.
agree.
Got it.
Phrygian, which I describe in my various other notes as extra minor.
Minor-er.
Minorer. Aeolian is the normal
How much
minor
more
key,
minor
and Ionian
can
is
it
major.
be? The answer is none.
The answer is no. None more minor.
So, next up on the list is the song I ranked at the bottom of my ranking, which would have won otherwise if I had given it a single additional
God,
point.
Fuck you.
So, Kung
I
Fu
knew
Chevre.
God.
And why did I rank it at the bottom? Because it was the last song on the album, and the
Oh, that's
album was
so
still
rude.
going.
Which I found really ironic, in that this is the one that has just the most conventional song-like passages with regular singing. I was like, this is going to be great for a song. Not realizing that Greg would be on his bullshit. It also has accordion. There's two vocalists sing along with an accordion and guitar company.
Here's
This
the
one's
thing.
literally got everything in it, man.
I don't remember what it sounds like. So even though this is the most conventional song, the hooks are
I
shitty.
can sing it for you. I won't, though. No one hold your breath.
It's not memorable. It's at the end of a long album, and I don't care.
I disagree.
So
It is at the end of a long album,
Yeah.
so I get that, but man, after those tired people stop singing, it gets really good.
Yeah, I mean, it starts badly, I will say.
I literally cannot remember this one. And I listened to it a bunch of times, like specifically to try to be like, what does that one even sound like? Faintly. Every time it starts, like, I don't remember this at all. It keeps going like, oh, this is like a poorly mixed Fable Cry song that they would have cut from the album because it was one of their worst songs.
Hey, Greg's borrowing from my notes because he doesn't remember the song.
That's right, because it's not memorable. It's bad. This is
I
terrible.
disagree so much. Like, okay, when this song started, I was like, oh, here we go. I'm not looking forward to this experience. And then the song actually starts, and I was like, hold on a second. There's goats. There's screaming. That bass goes off. There's the accordion. There's everything I've ever wanted in a song. And it's funny because I think my biggest complaint with this album...
Does it have hooks?
It does have hooks. It does.
I don't believe you. You're lying.
I can hear the accordion playing in my head.
Greg, you have a very narrow definition of
No,
hook,
I
though.
can hear the accordion playing in my
Something
head right
I can
now.
remember.
Because she's having a panic attack.
Because I'm having a panic attack. No, but like this song, like my biggest complaint for the
Song makes me
album was
think
probably
World War
that
II
a lot of
didn't
it just feels like thrown together and too chaotic. And then my favorite song is the most thrown together and chaotic of them all. So I'm a total hypocrite, and I admit it, and I stand by it. The song slaps. I love it so much. It's absolutely insane. And I would probably listen to it again.
This is one of the few songs I've maybe ever heard that I wish was a little longer.
Yeah, I want more of it.
What it really needs is a
Because
bridge.
there's
Oh, yeah.
there's the part towards the end where the accordion is playing like this triplet melody over the thing that is just like, it's so great after this entire album of like indiscernible weird bullshit to have something so straightforward as the drums playing straight beats and then the accordion doing triplets over it. It's just like so good. And then the bass does it. Man, a lot of good stuff happens in this song. It's like a almost as hyper as a System of a Down song.
Why are you insulting
Yeah,
System
I'd
of a
say
Down
that's
by
quite close
comparing
to
them
the
to this
spectrum.
crap?
Greg, you don't even like System
Which
of a
is
Down.
crazy.
I like a couple
That's
songs.
insane.
There are a couple good System songs. I don't actively listen to
Yeah,
their
there's
albums,
like 50.
but there are a couple songs of theirs that I at least enjoy, and I at least understand the intent and respect the artistry. I don't respect the artistry here. I don't respect the.
This is a masterpiece,
But there's-
though, this song. This is the abstract art that I was, like, aching for this whole time.
This is like the good version
The
of
bird
just
agrees
like
with you.
random shitty YouTube people doing like mashups for no reason. This is like the best that could possibly be.
Your fave could never.
I might even subscribe.
Like, I just think, yeah, this is
But you won't hit the bell icon.
No.
no bell icon for this. No, but it's like, this song is, like, very unique. I can't hear any other band doing this exact thing.
Listen to Fable Cry, and then you'll be like, "Oh, this band does it way better."
No. Don't tell me what to do.
All right.
I'm an independent woman.
Don't listen to Fable Cry. It's like this, but a better
Your
version.
reverse
of it.
psychology
Steve,
has
is Fable
worked.
Cry better than this?
I will now listen to it.
Man, I'm not going to comment on Fable Cry versus Igorrr because they're both great.
Oh, so you actually think Fable Cry isn't as good as Igorrr? I'm going to tell Zach next time I see him, which will be in 18 months.
Right, so I suspect you'll have forgotten by then. Who knows, though? Maybe the new album will completely blow everyone away. I like that Meet the Reaper song a lot.
I do.
I mean, look, Fable Cry writes songs, so that's why I prefer them to this band that writes maybe 2 songs per album.
Masterpieces.
Yeah, sure. I don't even care. Whatever you guys want to say. Just tell me when you're done, then we'll move on to the winner.
This one's good.
Yeah, 100% like this one.
I ranked it third. I like it. It's great.
Yeah,
great
same.
song.
I
Instant
really like
classic.
this one. It's got a little bit of everything from the full album, just all mashed into one single song.
If it didn't have the opening vocal bit, I would put it on my work playlist.
All right. Well, hey, we're at the winner of this ranking, so let's go through the bottom of the album to the top. Barocco Satani, Lost in Introspection, Nervous Welts, Himalaya, Massive Ritual, These Song Titles Are Dumb, Polyphonic Rust, Overweight Posy, Hollow Tree, Downgrade Desert, Paranoid Bulldozer, Italiano, Elon Musk, Very Noise, Power Pang, Musette Maximum, Kung Fu Chevre, but the best song on this album,
Drum, crash.
Camo Dance Floor, the Crash Bandicoot sounding song, including the dated percussion.
Are you talking about the part where it sounds like he's just slapping some cheeks?
Yes.
The
Slapping
ham bone
those
section?
cheeks. Cheeks slapping. He slappa.
It's called Hambone. It's a legitimate musical
Cheeks.
technique.
See, I gave this 10 points because that's where it was in the album. Steve, you ranked this number 1, so hey, my bullshit
did.
helped you, I guess.
I guess. Hooray! Greg's bullshit. Yeah, no, like it's a good song. I like it sort of flows between like an Arabian type melody and a spaghetti western sounding guitar. I like that a lot. You know, I like that, you know, he decides to throw Hambone and dubstep wubs into the same song. My only disappointment with this song is that it doesn't have any audio references to the hit dance song of the early 2000s, Carmel Dancin'. Ooh, 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 ah, ooh, ah. New Army Harme, Camel Dance Floor. I'm doing the Carmel Dancin' dance, you just can't see it. I'm not, actually, I'm just sitting still.
Hey, Sitting Still. Now there's a song.
Oh, yeah.
It's by REM.
Yeah, I was going to say, no one here is ready to hear our REM
No one's
jokes.
ready for that conversation. This song,
I would much rather be having a conversation about REM.
So would I.
this, yeah, I was gonna say something. I want to hear what Colin has to say about this song.
Why is that? Because I put it pretty low on the list.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he ranked it the
Yeah,
lowest. You
pretty
only
low.
gave it 5
Oh,
points.
wow. Okay.
No, I wasn't really into this one. No.
But it's the best song according to this panel of people who don't really care for the album. And you guys.
And for me, it's right near the bottom. Nah, I just wasn't really into this song. I kind of like the kind of all over the place, the songs for being all over the place. This one kind of standard, kind of structure. Not really into it, to be honest. Nah. I like the kind of modular synth kind of sound near the end. I think it wasn't. If it is modular synth, I think it's the bit near the end's all right, but that's about it, really.
Huh. I thought this was a...
What, you expected? You thought I was like number one for me, didn't you?
I did. Well, I guess I just...
No.
I don't know. I don't have access to the full list, so I was just assuming you liked it a lot.
Nah.
Now we keep it a surprise for the guest. Steve sees it in advance so he can grouse at me. But we like to keep it a surprise for everybody else.
Grouse about Greg's bullshit.
Meanwhile, Greg's telling us we're all full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell you that for this rank, and I'm like, that sure is those songs in an order that I care about, I guess.
I could tell you were really invested this week.
So
Yeah, this is
invested.
the first time Greg didn't tell everybody that they were full of shit before an episode.
I didn't care. I don't have opinions on this. This is just bad and boring, and then there's a couple I remember what they sound like. But even those, the ones that I ranked highest, if someone disagrees, whatever, I don't care.
I will say, though, this song just, to me, felt like this is just dubstep, which is fine. So I guess I mostly enjoyed it. I don't really listen to dubstep, but I feel like this sounds like that.
Paul McCartney did dubstep better.
But it also contains slapping cheeks, so...
Slap those cheeks.
When did Paul McCartney do dubstep?
I want to
Secretary.
say...
Electronic song.
Temporary.
That's not really dubstep. I'm just going to say I want to say 2013 or 2014, whenever the album New came out.
Temporary Secretary.
Yeah. Temporary secretary.
That's not really
yes, it is. It's dubstep.
If I don't know what it is,
not.
it's dubstep.
It doesn't... Oh, got it. Okay, then it's dubstep.
I would love to hear a dubstep
No.
version of that song.
Oh, we're going to find one.
That'd be
As soon
amazing.
as we're done here.
I'm sure
I
it
hope so.
exists.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, the song is, I'd say, proto-dubstep. I'll give you that. But there's not enough wobble,
No, I mean,
Yeah, it's
I totally
definitely too
agree.
bass for it to be
Yeah.
dubstep. But no, like, Paul did
There's just,
actual,
a
like,
lot to
dubstep
unpack
proper.
with- There's a lot to unpack with saying that, Paul McCartney did proto-dubstep just without the wah. Just in terms of, like, the history of the genre and, erasure of black musicians.
Look.
And the Beatles and whatnot, but I'm not going to go into that right
Look,
now.
hey, at least the Beatles, like, paid royalties to all the black musicians, sir. Unlike other artists.
Yeah. They're no Led
right.
Zeppelin, that's for sure.
Anyway, that's our ranking of this album. I don't care. Anyone care about this ranking?
No.
Okay, no one cares.
No.
It was a little bit all over the place. I don't know. I care. I liked this album. It's great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
The ranking was weirdly all over the place. I'm surprised by how much people's opinions varied and swung so
I
wildly.
mean, let's...
Like, even the two of us that enjoyed the album, like...
Yeah, it was quite different.
Most of the opinions were just,
Yeah,
we don't
our
remember
rankings
this.
were quite
That was
different.
just most of the opinions. That didn't vary wildly. I don't remember this. Neither do I. Nor do I. So really, this is the most consensus we've ever had on an episode in terms of our assessment of the material. We just put them...
Disregarding Greg's I don't remember this because I didn't enjoy the experience opinion, though.
And Victor and Julia. It's like, I kind of liked this one.
They remembered bits of it.
I had, I would say I generally enjoy sort of the top 5, maybe as far as the top 6 here of my ranking at least. And Kung Fu Chevre at least got its due.
Yeah. That song slaps.
So what you really want is a solid
Yeah.
EP out
That's
of
what I
this.
said yesterday.
Yeah, that's what...
I was like, yeah, you could take 4 or 5 songs from this, and I think I'd be thrilled about it. But as we're sitting now, I'm like, I feel cautiously optimistic about the future of this band, but it's currently not something I want to add to my library. Like, I don't hate it, but I did have to go listen to other metal albums that I preferred the next day after I listened to it the first time.
So really, this is just like a Kiss album. And then, it's got that 4 or 5 really great songs and then a bunch of filler that only the true fans like.
Yeah, this is an album for true fans.
Yeah,
Like
I
me.
mean, we all know that Camel Dance Floor is just the lick it up of the Igorrr discography.
So true.
Right.
I think if this
and it's like Kiss because it has boring vocal melodies on some songs.
if this band transitioned fully into accordion metal and just like sunk their teeth into that niche, then we might have a stew going.
I think
I don't know. I feel like if they really tried to double down on that, they'd end up sounding like Ailstorm.
A much better
I'm
band.
not saying the
A lot
album
more
would be any
boring
better.
for it.
Yeah,
I'm
Ailstorm is a
saying-
much better band.
It would be good.
Yeah, I'm with Victor.
I get bored with Ailstorm real fast.
Well, I'm sorry the life of the high seas isn't for you, you landlubber.
It's not. I'm terrified of drowning.
Colin, what did you think of this ranking?
Oh no, I'm glad everyone's always going to have different opinions. I can see what you mean because it's real. You'd have to listen to this album probably 100 times, and you still probably maybe able to tell the songs apart. It's quite hard to get into, but the songs that do stand out are fucking amazing. You're right; it'd probably be better as an EP. It's the truth because there is a lot of ones that are kind of like fodder near the end. But I fucking absolutely love this album. It's the kind of thing that I love. It's just all over the place, mental, crazy like mix-ups for everything. But as it stands, my favourite one is pretty much the standard straightforward death metal song, and then Very Noise. That's the ones that stand out for me. And that Kung Fu Chevre, I love that one
Hell
as well.
yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead.
This kind of reminds me, honestly, of where we landed at the end of the Black Mages album we did, where it was kind of like people go into an album for different reasons, and this one kind of really functions as if you just want like a really insane metal album and you're not necessarily looking for something to hum afterwards. Like this, I'm certain if you're just going in because you like metal textures and electronic experimentation, obviously this is a very good album for that.
Yeah.
But that's not really what I'm going into an album looking for most of the time.
You're not there for earworms. You're there for,
Yeah.
interesting production.
Ah,
But what if I
Like-
told you could have both?
you're right. You can do both. And in fact, that's what makes some albums good. Everyone is saying this would make a fine EP. When Steve was showing me clips on YouTube when we were just hanging out, I was done like 30 seconds into the video for most of these songs. So it's not even like a good YouTube video for me, let alone an EP. I absolutely hated this and hated the experience, and it is, for me, kind of one of the worst things you could do artistically because I see no point. Anyway, that's our episode. Excellent guest. Where can we find you on the internet? Colin, what do you have to promote? Tell us about your music, if you have any. What are you promoting?
Oh, fuck, the music to promote. Well, I've got electronic music. Colin Rut, it's very fucking, it's an anagram of my name. If you can find it on Bandcamp, it's CHORALAINRUT. I've also got a hip-hop album that me and my bird made, which is quite funny. Actually, it's Kybernauld, KYBERNAULD. You can get both of these on Bandcamp. So get buying, troops.
And Julia, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm Lady Celery on all platforms. Come be my friend. I'm sad and my life has no meaning. So,
Including like Redbubble and shit.
oh yeah, I mean, in this day and age, it's hard to sell any art-related merchandise, but I do make art sometimes since I have no job and
Well, hey.
have it for weeks.
Let me encourage you. People have been buying copies of this album instead of your art.
That is really encouraging.
So
Yeah,
it's
what
just-
if instead of buying this album, you guys could buy something for me for $10 US? And you'll get to look at it and smile or frown. It will evoke emotions in you.
But
So-
it can't invoke specific emotions because that's not art.
No, that's right.
You were completely my words, Greg. You can make art that invokes specific emotions if you
Or
want
you can
to,
make
but you
this
don't
shit.
have to.
Victor, where can people find you on the internet? So, Victor, where can people find you?
I'm at the Victastic K on Twitter, and you can find my music under the name James Gameboy on Spotify, Bandcamp, and Patreon. And I think technically I'm a fighter now as well.
Yes, there's a remix of there's the James Gameboy Air Horn remix of on the next Regdar and the Fighters album, assuming I can actually get it out to streaming platforms, because I got an email during this podcast from Distor Kid saying you can't have the year in your album title for whatever
Oh, that's
reason.
annoying.
That's weird.
Just spell it out.
I guess. Especially annoying since this year's number is 2020, which, if you want to reference Vision, is a thing you could do.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well. I'll send them an email when my computer stops blue
20
screening on me.
money. Buy this album.
And Steve, where can people find us on the internet? And we sound nothing like this band.
It's true. We sound basically nothing like them. They can find us at lipstickgeneration.com and Lipstick Generation on most platforms that don't have character limits in their username.
And that is our episode. Bye, internet.
Bye.
So I tried to be as positive as possible on this episode. Did it come through?
Wow.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, God.
No, I held back. Thanks for listening to the Lipstick Panel, hosted by Lipstick Generation. Lipstick Generation's music can be found on all major streaming platforms and at lipstickgeneration.com. If you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know your ranking of the subject in the comments down below. Feel free to leave us an episode suggestion also. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app, please leave a review and tell a friend about our show. Thanks and rock on.